Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
Welcome everyone. Thanks so much for being here. If you're here live, thank you. If you are listening on the radio, thank you for that. And if you're watching later, thank you for that as well. This is an exciting topic, and I'm really excited about this because it's almost exactly a year since this person that is my guest and I shared a stage in Orlando at the shareholders event. She was an amazing moderator. She's an amazing coach, and she is going to teach us selling it like a 6-year-old or selling like a 6-year-old. So without further ado, welcome, Katey Dallosto. How's it going?
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me start off the morning with dancing. So that was always fun.
Oh, totally. I actually just saw Curtis Shewell shared a video, and he said you got to dance every single day. It completely changes, your mindset, which is actually how we start off too. So real quick, I'm just going to go through some affirmations that I always like to do. They're really short and they might seem silly, but this is actually something that changed my business at a time when the interest rates went up about 9 months ago. And I was kind of in my feels, and I really was. And one of my clients was like, Sara, this is no big deal. There's assumable loans. And I didn't know crap about assumable loans. And but he, whoever has the strongest belief and passion in a situation is going to control that situation. And in that situation, he did. So thank you to Brent Cawley. I'm a big fan, and you definitely helped me out. And now,
write that down, by the way.
Oh yeah. Good stuff. Okay. So the affirmations that I have, and this is really important, especially if you guys are making calls or if you're nervous about, a listing appointment or anything like that. If you say these, or if you do your little super star pose or I don't know, it was on Grey's Anatomy. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah. I
used to do that. Yeah. I used to do that before these because I used to totally get in my head. My mouth would go dry and I just freak out. So, but now I say these and now I'm good to go. All right. So my affirmations are, I am successful regardless of what is happening in the current market. Each call is an opportunity to build a positive connection and provide value. I am well prepared and knowledgeable about my market and the services I offer. I am persistent and resilient. I will keep going despite any challenges. I focus on solutions and benefits, not just making a sale. Every call brings me one step closer to achieving my goals. I'm a great communicator and can convey my message effectively. My enthusiasm is contagious and it resonates with people I'm talking to. And I know that success comes from consistent effort. And that is my favorite one to end on because it's so true. And even if you are feeling like you have been one of those people that has been calling like me for 9 months, to people that hang up on you or ignore you or whatever, or just never pick up the phone. Eventually they do call back, or eventually they do pick up the phone. So just keep going because you're going to hit that, gold if you just keep chipping away. So, all right, now, Katey, I'm going to let you take it over and just run this. And I'm just here.
Lord. Well, I will thank you, Sara, again for having me on as a guest. It was such a pleasure to meet you last year, and I was inspired by you and what you built and how you support realtors all over the country. And so thank you for what you do for all of us as realtors. And you are the person that I call that I'm like, I have a systems question, right? I've got, and it's like, how does this work? And help me see this. And I've got you and one other person. There's 2 of you that are my systems experts. And I'm like, okay, if they both tell me the same thing, that's probably what I need to do, right? So, it's good to have surround yourself with people that think and do things differently because it challenges our own beliefs. And it's what you just said about your affirmations. Is your affirmations posted somewhere? Because I would actually want to steal them, but I don't know if anybody else wants to steal them. But it's like, or maybe tweak them a little bit that are more me. But 90% of those, I'm like, yes.
Yes. So I do have them in my Facebook group, which is called The Future of Follow-Up for Real Estate. It is also in Workplace if you are an EXP agent. And if you're not an EXP agent, hit me up because hello, come on over to the fun side. But I have a workplace group. It's called Inside Sales Agents General, and they are also posted in there. But you can also just hit me up on social, and I will send you.
Please. Yes. I don't know if anybody else felt the same way, but I did. One of my things, I've as a public speaker, I've been a national trainer and speaker since 2008. I don't even like saying these words out loud. As it goes into my brain, I'm like, oh, I've been a realtor for 20 years. I said, I feel like those, old ladies at the open house that are like, I've been doing this for, 35. And I'm like, oh Lord. So, I've been in various roles inside of real estate, mostly in leadership roles in the last 20 years, speaking, coaching, training, running large and small real estate offices. My favorite place is the stage and a microphone. So as many people are afraid of public speaking, I love it. And I actually love to help train people on how to be a public speaker. It's fun. And it's also a great source for lead generation. And my favorite thing about speaking, which is why I like to moderate, is I like to be interrupted. So I want you to interrupt me, Sara. I want those of you that are here live, pop into the chat. Sara, can you keep an eye on the chat? Because sometimes I get on a roll and I'm half Irish, half Italian. It means I like a loud fight, but I also talk with my hands. So I'm not always clicking on the buttons for the chat. If you could help
Will
me.
do. And I was going to interrupt you. I was going to tell you that you definitely helped me. That was my first time speaking at such a massive event in front of people. And I remember you were like, hey, you got this. You asked me what my topic was beforehand. And you're like, that's great. So you gave me so much confidence. So thank you. And yes, I will keep an eye on the chat, but you just go, girl.
Awesome. I will just give one tip on public speaking. And if I didn't tell you this, I apologize. I'll say it now. Public speaking, most people get concerned about public speaking because it's primal, right? We are ultimately pack animals. This is why, the healthiest people in the world have great relationships, because we have our pack, our tribe, our group. And so when we are on a stage, we are outside the pack, and our body genetically goes, whoa, 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 outside of the pack, you die. So you think about any other pack animal, if you're outside the pack, it's dangerous. And so our body feels that. It's the same as like, do I run across the freeway? No, that's dangerous. So our body has that, we're outside the pack. And so our body responds that way. So we need to tell our body, no, we're safe. It's okay. See, my pack is right there. They're here to take care of me. And when you're doing public speaking, instead of talking to a group, pick one person in the crowd and talk to one person, because you all are really good at talking one-on-one. So then just make one point to one person, and then look into and find somebody else to make your second point to the second person, and just have a conversation, because that feels more intimate anyway, and people will connect with you differently that way. And it doesn't feel like you're outside the pack anymore. It feels like you're connecting with one person at a time. And then it has a ripple effect inside the whole room that you aren't even aware of. And it doesn't matter, because you are feeling connected with your pack. So it's a way to kind of trick our millennial old genetics around. We've got to be inside the pack. And so it feels scary outside the pack. So that's what that is. So that's my public speaking hack is to do that.
You did tell me that too. And I'm excited to hear selling like a 6-year-old. So
yeah, well, this is part of it, because it's the same reason that people don't like to sell, is because they feel outside the pack. They feel like I'm outside coming. This feels awkward. So you were talking about follow-up, and my favorite sales book. Okay, everybody write that down, get a pencil. My favorite sales book of all time is Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. Okay. Because the fortune's in the follow-up. Green Eggs and Ham is a kid's book. And I want you guys to start thinking about this like a 6-year-old. And I'll circle back to Green Eggs and Ham. How this class developed is my now almost 21-year-old son was 6 years old in the back seat, and he wanted to do something. And it was just funny, I can't remember what it was, but he was committed. Like, can we go, to Disneyland? I don't even remember what it was. And I was like, no, we can't go this weekend. I was, well, what about, and then he's like, well, and if we could, and then he just started coming at everything. I go, man, this is, and I'm driving it as a part of my brain. I'm like, I'm a sales trainer. Like, this is just a clinic in objection handling. Like, the guy is just incredible. And to your point, enthusiasm is contagious. And he was enthusiastic and passionate and committed. And I was like, this is amazing. And then after like the sixth time of telling him no, or let's talk about it again in a month or what have you, I was like, oh my gosh, he's driving me crazy. But I loved his passionate energy. And that's the kind of energy we need to have. I actually started my sales career as a 6-year-old. I went to Catholic school, so I learned how to sell in the first grade. So I've been knocking on doors since I was 6 years old, selling candy bars and every other fundraiser for Catholic school. And so I've had gotten used to this of going and being persistent towards what I want. Now I was 6 years old, and the prize for if for selling 6 boxes of candy bars, and I believe there were 20 candy bars in each box, right? So 120 candy bars as a fundraiser. If you sold 6 boxes of candy bars, you got to go to Great America. I mean, is there anything better when you're 6? I don't think so. And so I was like, I'm in, like, let's go. So, you know, and wore my school uniform, and my dad came with me, and we knocked on doors, and I sold candy bars, and I got to go to Great America. And the next year the prize was different. And the next year the prize was different again. So for me, it was about having my eye on the prize, but also creating that energy and enthusiasm. Not that I was conscious of those things as a 6-year-old, but you can't help it when you're sick. And if you have ever been a 6-year-old, you are a salesperson. And this is what we just got to tap into, that enthusiasm. All right. So this, I'm going to, if I saw that some people were driving, but if you're not driving, or Sarah, you can even tell me, tell me what your favorite thing to play at recess when you were 6 or 7 years old.
Oh, I liked playing King of the Mountain, where you're on like the balance beam, because I was really good at balancing, and I like to knock all the other kids off. But
That's a limit. Okay.
King of the Hill, I don't know what it's called.
That's awesome. Anybody else want to put in the chat, or you take yourself off mute and say what you loved to play when you were in recess?
Is it gonna be the ball, like 4
Tag?
Tag. All right, Katey, thank you, tag. All right. Well, so you know, I mean, there's hopscotch. So, okay, anybody else? I'm looking to see if anybody's taking themselves off mute. Okay, all right, we're good. Thank you for participating, both of you. And for those of you that are gonna pay attention to this later, just think about whatever it was that you loved to do at recess, right? And some people, it's kickball, it's basketball, it's hopscotch, it's tetherball, tag, marbles. I've heard so many different things. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that, right? But everybody knows it comes to the top of your mind very quickly, and how much fun it was. This is what sales is. You go out onto the playground, and I walk up to Sara and say, Sara, do you want to play kickball? And she's like, no, I'm going to go play King of the Hill. And I'm like, okay, cool. Right. And then I'm going to go to Kadeem and say, hey, do you want to play kickball? And he's like, no, I'm going to play tag. But I got to keep talking to people until I find a group of people that want to play kickball with me, or else I got to shift my messaging, as it were. Right. I can't find anybody that wants to play kickball. I've got to shift. Okay, well, Sara is playing King of the Hill, and Kadeem's playing tag. Right. He just shipped my message. But going out there and continuously going and asking people if they want to play kickball, or they want to play tag or King of the Hill, you're going to find people that want to do it. Now, this is why green eggs and ham is important, because Sam I Am asked 72 times, would you like green eggs and ham? Would you like, and he's creative. Would you like it in a boat? Would you like it in a moat? Right? All those things. And we don't know if that's 72 times in 5 minutes, or if it's 72 times over 5 years. But he's persistent. He's creative. He's enthusiastic, like a 6-year-old. And it's consistency. And if you remember, and spoiler alert, the end of the book, his friend says, thank you, Sam I Am. I love green eggs. So part of that persistence sometimes is, tell me about, fine, okay. But it's also part of the persistence that pays off. Persistence does pay off. And we see it over and over and over again. And here's the other piece. I might be going out to talk to Sara about kickball. And maybe the third time we have I ask her about playing kickball. She's like, I don't really know the rules of kickball. Like, I know I'm good at this game over here, but I don't really know about kickball. Why do you like it so much? Why are you so enthusiastic about it? And that's exactly what you talked about with that client of yours who said 9 months ago, hey, there's all these different other ways to help people buy and sell real estate that have nothing to do with interest rates or how we can, be creative around it. It's like, oh, how do you help me do that? So I think that, did you freeze for a minute there?
I thought you froze, but you're good. Maybe it was on my end.
Okay. I was like, one of us, I just kept talking. So hopefully it got recorded.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's all good. This is real. This is live, people.
Yeah,
so, bear with us. We're human. All right. Carry on.
But no, I was just, I'm saying that like a lot of times people don't know what the rules are in kickball or any other game. And so they say no because they don't understand it. So that's our opportunity to say, oh, have you ever played kickball? Are you familiar with kickball? So to dig a little deeper, and maybe I need to explain the rules of kickball to Sara. And she goes, oh, that does sound kind of fun. I'll give it a shot. Let's have a conversation. That doesn't mean she's immediately going to be like a professional kickball player. She's just, gonna like, all right, let's have a conversation. Does this sound familiar in any way to sales of anything?
Absolutely. This is massive. And this is also why I teach about video too, because it's educating. It's helping people understand that it's not that scary, because immediately what happens when you walk into a store and there's that person that says, hey, can I help you find something? Your immediate reaction is to say, no, I'm good. Right. And you like, even if you do need help, your immediate reaction is to say, nope, I'm good. And then like you go around and try to figure it out yourself because you don't want to ask for help. Like our immediate reaction is always to be like, I'm good, but then you can seek it out later. And educating people ahead of time with video, or saying, hey, like you said, hey, Sara, do you know about kickball? And do you know the rules? And let me explain it. If you're open to doing those things, that's where you really build connections and then relationships, and those turn it into referrals and repeat business if we're going to put it all in perspective.
All right. So, you just teed me up perfectly, because I used this analogy the other day that somebody walks into a store. They walk into Nordstrom, Macy's, wherever. They walk into a store with salespeople, and they're there looking. So it's an invitation as a salesperson to go up to them and say, hi, is there a certain, and sometimes instead of saying, may I help you? Right? We say something like, is there a certain size you're looking for? Are you looking for yourself or for someone else? Right? To start a conversation. Because as a salesperson working in a retail store, if somebody walks in, there's a reason they walked into that store today. And sometimes it is, I'm just looking. Awesome. For what? Like, is it, are you looking to change your entire wardrobe? Do you have a special occasion coming up? Like, I'm just looking. I don't know what that means, right? And this is exactly what happens when people walk up to us and say, how's the market? And how's the market is the exact same thing as somebody walking into your store and saying, someday I may be a customer of yours. I'd like to know what you know. I'd like to know why I would buy something from you, your store, etc. So how's the market is the international sign for book an appointment. Say it one more time. How's the market is the international sign for book an appointment. The number of realtors that ignore how's the market and spend thousands of dollars on internet leads is insanity. The internet leads don't know you. The people that are standing in front of you as a human being connecting with one another saying, hey, I hear you like kickball. I hear you like King of the Mountain. Like, yeah, it's really fun. And then keep walking away. It's like, okay, well, cool. Of course she thinks it's fun because she's good at King of the Mountain, right? But instead of going, oh, well, why do you ask about King of the Hill? Sorry, I wrote down King of the Hill, but I keep saying King of the Mountain. But like, we need to ask the next question. Would you like to role play with me, Sara?
Sure.
Ask me, how's the market?
The market.
Well, thanks for asking, Sara. I'm just curious. Are you thinking about buying or selling or commercial real estate?
Well, I mean, I'm happy in my home right now, but I've heard some things on the news, so I was just curious.
Oh, awesome. Where are you curious? Is there a certain location or neighborhood that you're curious about learning more?
I guess where I'm at in Lakeland Hills.
Okay. Awesome. Do you own your own home?
I do.
Have you had anybody come over and do like an annual assessment of your largest financial investment, which is your home? Have you had anybody come in and give you like a almost like an appraisal, but from me?
I haven't done that since we bought it. No.
Okay. Well, would you be available tomorrow afternoon about 4 o'clock? I'd love to come over, see what you've done see what upgrades you've done, and possibly give you some ideas on simple things you could do to your house to increase the value. Would that be helpful for you?
That would be helpful, except I'm not available at 4. Could we do it more like 6?
We could do it not tomorrow at 6, but the day after. Is that okay?
That works for me.
Okay. So nobody is curious about the market. Not a single person is curious about the market. No one ever. They have a very specific neighborhood in mind. And yes, typically it is their own, right? Same with I'm thinking about buying, I'm thinking about investing, because they're thinking about something. People walked into your store. They looked at you and said, how's the market? It is your store. I've actually done exercises. My friend Rick Jiha, who we lost last year, he and I did an exercise live in one of and where we talked about how many times a week he and his team would get asked, how's the market? And then we did the multiplier of okay, if it's 50 times a week times 50, that's 2,500. Is that right? I get my math right? Yeah. 2,500 people asked, how's the market in a year? And I said, do you think any of those people bought or sold real estate from somebody else? And he got very sad. But if you start to do the math on that, if you start to look at those conversations as maybe not an immediate lead, but at least a prospective lead. Somebody may say, I'm curious because, when Johnny graduates from high school, we're going to sell our house. Awesome. How old's Johnny? Well, Johnny's 14. He just finished his freshman year. So in 3 years, they're going to want to sell their house. People that have a plan for real estate in the next 3 years are thinking about real estate more than we do. And so they're great referral sources. So it's a great opportunity to hey, let's sit down. Let's talk about your plan. Let's see what that looks like. Let's take simple things you can do to your house in the next 3 years so that you don't have to deal with any deferred maintenance when we go to let's sell the house. Let's sit down and have a conversation and show them that you are a professional. Professional services are highly valued resources for people. And that's who we are. And we've got to start behaving that way. Because I'm telling you, if a financial advisor is asked about how's the stock market, I can guarantee you they're booking an appointment. At the very least, they're calling the next day and saying, hey, it was great to chat with you. You asked me a couple of questions. Hey, why don't we take a look and see what your portfolio looks like? And we can help you. They do it. We don't. And so I have agents that will roll their eyes when I say, how many times a week do people ask you, how's the market? Ate that question. And I'm like, oh, those are leads. Those are leads. Those are free leads, people that are interacting with you. So I have many soapboxes. But if you're having fun, like a 6-year-old, and you're excited, it's great. Sorry, Kadeem.
I have a question. So how do you overcome fear? I feel like I have a lot of clients and they're just fearful of the whole entire process. So I try to alleviate some of that fear, but for some of it, I don't know if it's psychological, which I guess I can still kind of.
Well, what is the fear? What are they? I mean, moving is horrible. So what's the fear?
I think they're just how do you go about?
Sorry, you got muted there, Kadeem.
Thank you.
Sorry. It's kind of breaking up as well. But I was asking so I have a lot of clients and in going through it and trying to convert the lead, from a customer to a client. Sometimes I'm dealing with fear And it doesn't matter how much facts I give them, if they're concerned to see more emotion.
Correct. All right. So I know you're cutting out a little bit, so I'm going to answer your question. So, Kadeem, I think you kind of a little bit. So I think you said you're talking about the emotion versus the logic.
Intimidated. So I'm trying to convince them on getting over the fear and, taking that leap of faith. I mean, with clients who are ready. Say that again.
Well, I said, are you breaking up a little bit? So I think why don't you go ahead and put yourself back on mute, but I think I got the overall gist. So fear is an emotion, and we can give them every logical, every analytical, every factoid on the planet, but that fear is emotional, right? So we cannot ever combat fear with logic. So we have to actually look at the fear, right? And say, hey, and agree with them. Like, it's okay to be scared. Like, and let's talk about what that looks like. And then courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the understanding that something is more important. So I would not even worry about the facts. Like, the fact that they're even talking to you is they're building up some courage, that they're having a conversation with you about real estate, even though it scares them. So you could say, hey, good for you for having the courage to have a conversation about real estate when it's a little scary, and I get it. And it is a little scary. And why would you, like, in the best case scenario, why would you even want to do it? First of all, moving is horrible. Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, hooray, I'm moving today. Ugh. Right? It's like, no, it's not. You're not excited about the move, but you're willing to do the move because there's something on the other end of that is positive, that's emotional. There's only two emotions in the world, love and fear. Love always beats fear. And so we've got to touch that part. We've got to touch the heart part. What is worth going through? What is worth the courage to work through the fear? And if it's a fantasy in their head, it is different for everybody. But we won't know until we sit down and talk about emotion, because all decisions are made with emotion. We back them up with logic, but their emotion. Corporate decisions are emotional, right? And so every decision has emotion attached to it, and we back it up and we justify it with logic, right? But there's always an emotional aspect to every decision that's made for our lives. So once you get the understanding of where they want to go, it's like, okay, is it worth the risk? Is this a mitigated risk for you? Because, none of us are fortune tellers. There just is an opportunity to help mitigate that. And again, that's kind of like, so go back to the playground. If somebody's never played tag with you, Kadeem, and you're like, I don't know, I've seen people trip and fall and they scrape their knees, and I'm like a little nervous. And what if some big guy goes to tag me and I get pushed down and like this, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, what if we play tag together, just like with 2 or 3 of us, just to see how it goes? And let's start. And why would you even want to play tag? Well, I like running. Oh, and that's cool, right? So we start. What is the emotional thing that they're even in a conversation with you? Because if they were really against it, they wouldn't even be talking to you about it. So they're at least having the courage to have a conversation and acknowledge that courage, and then help them to build more. Not having anything to do with logic. That all has to come with, like, what's this future self, this future vision that they're moving towards, and how can you help them? I heard a great analogy yesterday. Please, everybody, steal this analogy. It said, we are the airplane pilot. We don't let the passengers run in and take over flying the airplane. We got it. There's turbulence. There's turbulence happens. No plane has ever crashed because of turbulence. It's just a little scary. The pilots are like, it's turbulence. No big deal. We got this. Right? And so if you are reminded, I'm your pilot in this process, you can sit back and have a drink. Just chill. Right. And we got it. And yeah, the turbulence is a little scary and there are some bumps in the road. Absolutely. And I got you. I'm the pilot. Remember, I'm flying the plane. We're going to land safely. Everything that happens is for us, not to us. Nothing happens to us. Things happen for us. So we're going to just fly the airplane. Okay.
And I will add, I think that kind of brings this to a nice conclusion here, because I think if you really look at it too, you want to get to the motivation of what they're really, what is really bringing them to where they want to be. And if you are going back to fundamentals and educating them and understanding that that is also our role, and setting expectations. So whenever anybody comes to me and says, hey, I want to hire now, I set very clear expectations. This does not mean that you are going to get a bunch of sales in the first month. It could mean that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, right? Like, I don't control every aspect of it. But if you set expectations for the people that you're working with and make sure that they understand and you empathize and match their intensity, but like with the right kind of, professionalism, but match, like if they're upset, like I'm upset that this went wrong and I'm upset that it's infested with termites. Like, I understand that. I get that, right? Like, so get on their level so you're on their side. You're both doing this together. Yeah. And I think that really, really does make a difference. And trust yourselves too, because you know a lot more than you think you know. Like, imagine a newbie agent, right? Like, coming in, like all that pressure of like all these other people, like Katey, who has 20 years in the business. Like, that was me just a few years ago. You got to make your own way. You got to make your own path. So yeah, that's what that's.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you guys for being here. This is Keeping It Real Estate with Sara and Coach Katey this time. Hopefully you'll be back in a couple weeks and we'll see you again. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.